The Three Sacred Treasures Civilization Theory. Episode 1, The Three Sacred Treasures as a Civilization OS. Jewel Section Part 1. The Hidden Cause of Widespread Stagnation. Why is it that those who work the hardest often feel the least rewarded? Why is it that people who believe they are right end up confronting each other? Why is it that, even as life becomes more convenient, it somehow feels harder to live? What if this were not an individual problem, but a problem in the very structure of civilization itself? How would you begin to see this world differently? 3 what-ifs. Have you ever considered, what if civilization operates on only 3 fundamental mechanisms? What if human consciousness is divided into 7 distinct stages? What if time is not linear, but cyclical in structure? What if light and shadow were originally one and the same? If all of these were intertwined to form what we now call civilization, then perhaps the discomfort you feel is not your fault. How would you begin to see this world differently? What this series is about. In this series, we will interpret civilization, consciousness, religion, AI, human life as expressions of the same underlying structure. This is the Three Sacred Treasures Civilization Theory, the point where the current civilization OS reaches its limits. Here we are not discussing ideology or belief. We are discussing the minimal structure that allowed civilizations to form and continue to exist. From that structure, we will revisit civilization as if reading its blueprint. Today, we begin with the core element of this theory, the minimal theorem, the jewel. This is the center of the series, the entrance to 7 senses. 7 senses is a metacognitive framework that perceives multiple goods as a coordinate system and transforms conflict into configuration. Myth as the prehistory of civilization. Can a civilization exist without mythology? And if it can begin, where does it ultimately lead? To have mythology means to have a foundational story upon which civilization stands. That story may contain not only the beginning, but also the destination. What if the stagnation and confusion we feel today are not accidents? What if the present state of the world is already part of an ending foretold in myth? Then interpreting that story may become a key to understanding where civilization is heading. What are the 3 sacred treasures? Here, the 3 sacred treasures are not treated as mythological artifacts. Instead, they are understood as structural principles that drive civilization. A civilization OS. Every civilization contains 3 essential elements: what it moves toward purpose, how time progresses, time structure, how reality is perceived, recognition. These 3 elements form the minimal structure necessary for civilization. The 3 sacred treasures are symbols of this structure. Why myth preserves structure? This structure may have existed before civilization itself, but it could not be recorded as history or institutions, so humanity may have preserved it through myth. What was passed down may not have been stories, but structures that could not be forgotten. Myth may not be fantasy or superstition. It may have been a vessel for remembering pre-civilizational structure. The minimal theorem of the 3 sacred treasures. Here, we introduce the minimal theorem of the 3 sacred treasures. This is not a theory to explain civilization, religion, AI, and human life separately. It is a blueprint for understanding all of them as the same structure. At the beginning, we introduced 3 what-ifs. If civilization truly operates on 3 mechanisms, then perhaps the discomfort we feel comes from living without recognizing that very premise. This theorem reveals that hidden premise. The components of the theorem, the 3 sacred treasures, represent 3 structures that drive civilization. Jewel, the structure of desire. This determines what people move toward. It defines how far reality extends for each individual. Sword, the cyclical structure of time. Experience is not linear. It unfolds, reverses, and integrates in cycles. Mirror, the structure of recognition. Conflict is not an error. It is a difference in perspective that assumes eventual integration. We use This structure, without realizing it, and that hidden premise, determines how the world appears to us. When these three come together, the movements of individuals, societies, and civilizations begin to circulate as a single structure. What are desire levels 1-7, the jewel? The jewel represents the structure of desire energy that actually moves people, more than what we want. What truly shapes our world is which level of desire we are using to perceive reality. That determines what we see, how we judge, what we believe is right. All of it changes. Even when people are looking at the same reality, they often fail to understand each other. This is why the existence of 7 desire levels means that each person has a different reference point for judgment. This is not a matter of superiority or inferiority. It is simply a difference in the scale from which the world is seen. Desire levels 1-7. One-word definitions. Survival, I want to live. Fear, pain, hardship, and the desire for safety. This is the starting point of everything. If this level is not satisfied, nothing else can function. Order, I need rules. The stage where uncertainty feels unsafe, without structure. Here, people seek order, rules, and shared norms. Belonging, I want to belong. The desire not to be rejected and to be recognized. Many human struggles begin here. Self, I want to live as myself. The stage where a person begins to ask, how do I truly want to live? This is often a turning point in life. Justice, I want to consider what is right. The stage where a person begins to ask, is it enough to think only about myself? Here, interest expands into society and ethics. Structure, I want to understand the system, a perspective that looks beyond surface problems to the mechanisms beneath them. At this stage, the world begins to be seen as a blueprint. Integration, how should the whole exist? A perspective that balances the whole from the viewpoint of the future. This is the stage where thinking expands to the scale of civilization and humanity. An important clarification. What matters most here is this: level 7 is not the stage that decides what is good. Level 7 is the perspective that adjusts the whole. From this viewpoint, rightness means that each level of desire is fully expressed. And because of that, rightness inevitably collides with other forms of rightness, not because one side is wrong, but because multiple forms of rightness are being maximized at the same time. Why level 7 becomes necessary. This is where level 7 becomes essential. Level 7 is the reference point for placing what is good. Levels 1-6 are each valid in their own way, but when they are all maximized simultaneously, they collide. That is why a perspective is needed to decide where and when each value should be placed. This is the role of level 7. In other words, level 7 is the position from which goodness is integrated. It is the anchor of convergence within civilization. One important reminder: this model is not about superiority or inferiority. It is a way to organize the differences in how people see the world. No one is fixed at a single level. We move between levels, depending on the situation. When your body is weak, you return to survival. In relationships, you may operate from belonging. At work, you may rely on structure. You are not unstable. The scale from which you are seeing has simply changed. Why people disagree. Many disagreements between people are not caused by error. They arise from differences in scale. It is not that one person is wrong. They are simply standing at a different point of view. Summary: human desire unfolds in expanding scales to live survival, to create order, to belong belonging, to live as oneself self, to consider what is right justice, to understand structure, to integrate the whole integration. In this way, the scale of concern gradually expands, even when looking at the same object What we see depends on the level from which we observe. It is like seeing the same object in different colors. When you feel discomfort, if you ever feel a sense of discomfort, ask yourself, from which perspective am I seeing this right now? Even that single question can change how the world appears. That discomfort may not be an error. It may be a difference in perspective. Next episode preview, in Jewel Section Part 2, we will compare this model with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Kukai's 10 stages of mind. Through this comparison, we will examine the structural validity of the model.